So folks, second day of Lola training, and we're doing great. Sometimes getting right back on the bike can be a little trying for them. They forgot what they learned the day before. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. We're gonna try. Come on, nope. Come on. Come on, good girl. This is so important for her because she's very active. I can tell by her energy and what I'm observing with her. Good girl. Let's go. Get that in. Girl, watch on. Love to watch because good girl. Come on, good girl. Now it's still rather early yet, so it's going to be a warm day, and that's okay. She's a young dog. She's okay. She's got her lead a little, her harness a little turned around, but that's okay. I don't want to stop her mid-flight. I want to keep the momentum going. She's doing great. Little dog out there. Hopefully, I'll grab her. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this dog to turn around. Come on, Ollie. Come on. Come on, G, come around. G, come around. G, come around. That's actually, that's acting. The harness right now. Good girl. She's very, much more confident in herself now, second time around. I did forget one thing. I forgot my potty bags, and we got to do that because she has not had her morning potty yet. Morning empty, as we call it. So we're going to bring her down the driveway again. And this is all good training, you know, just back and forth, just more reinforcement. Oh, I've been here before, I can do this. So even though we're in the beginning of our second day of run, it's okay that I forgot something. I'm going to go slowly down the driveway because the driveway does have a lot of power here, a lot of tilt. And I'm going to have to turn it around, and I'm going to have to unhook her for a second. But it's all good. These are retraining, just reinforcing good. G, come around. G, come around. Come on, good girl. G, come around. Good girl. See, I'm marking her. Coming around. G, come around. G means to the right. You should back up. Here we go. Come on, G. Come on. Come on, man. Low. Got a lot of different names I'm trying to remember here. Now, she's still got herself a little bit caught tight to the scooter, to the tether. What I'm going to do is get up here. Good girl. Stay good girl. Try to straighten it out now. I've got a brake on this, a parking brake, which is really good. Now we got a car coming by. Good training for her to hear the car, see the car, and understand the car won't hurt her. Neighborly friend. Now that dog was down there on the court, so we're just going to make sure on the road. I'm going to take a quick jaunt in the court just to give that dog more time to get out of there. I'm not worried about Lola with the dog, but I'm worried about the dog with Lola. So just best to keep it. Try to keep the distance. Especially because I'm not on that phase of the training yet, so I don't have as much command of Lola as I'd like to. Just because we're not there yet, and I don't want to rush it. Good girl, Lola. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. Haul means to your left, or to the left, and come around means basically I'm going to do a U-turn. Come on, girl. Now, this really encourages the dogs to go to the bathroom because of the motion and because of, again, their instinct, their prey instinct, and instinct to protect themselves. When they're out, they detect they're out outside. They know they could come in contact with possible prey opportunities, which obviously we're not going to give our domesticated dogs an opportunity to prey upon anything. But also because, so they don't, but instinctually, if they saw prey, they'd want to chase it and want to engage it, and they don't want to have to stop to go to the bathroom. Same with a confrontation with another dog. If they would see it, good girl. Now she's getting real. I could shorten her lead. I just don't want her to, if she breaks to the left and comes into the vehicle, it won't hurt her. It'll push her. Good girl. But I don't want to intimidate her too much. But she's pretty radical. So, no. She wants to get over to the grass is what she wants. Come on. G over. Good girl. No. Come on. Good girl. I'm going to outpace her in a couple minutes. Prevent this. She probably wants to get over towards the grass. But she can go to the bathroom on the blacktop. It's fine. Teach dogs to do that all the time. But if they were going to come in a possible confrontation, also just like the prey, they don't want to take a chance of not being able to defend themselves because they have to go to the bathroom. So that's why going to the bathroom outside and training them, housebreaking them is very easy. Come on, good girl, come on. Come on, good girl, come on. Come on, good girl, come on. I saw someone was walking the dog down here, so I'm going to take my dog. She's doing so good. I mean, I haven't had a dog respond like this, I don't think ever. And part of that is just me getting better, as I said. Understanding their training needs for an activity like this. I'm going to let that person get ahead of me, because we're going to climb this hill with a little bit of zest.
Boarding with WoofDriver.
See how we are on leash length. I can control it a little bit with the leash. I'm talking tether length.
Boarding with WoofDriver.
That's what I wanted to check. Is the leash I can control. Paw. Come on, good girl. Paw means to the left. Good girl. Just keep in a better position now. So we're climbing a pretty decent hill. Not as big as the one we're going to climb soon. And we're also beating the heat of the sun by doing this in the morning hours. It's still mid-May, so it's mid-spring, not the hottest spring, hot early summer. But it will be later today, approaching those hot temperatures. And just gotta, with the Husky, you gotta always keep them cool. Now a lot of her undercoat has already been shed. Come on, good girl. So that helps keep her cooler too. That the undercoat, a lot of it's gone. Seems like there's not a lot of dead coat in her top layer, her body layer. Her head, she's still got a lot of undercoat. It hasn't been groomed. She hasn't been groomed, so her head's really needs to be addressed. And we'll do that this week with the grooming session, spa day, as I like to call it. So the bike makes noise. It is electric, the scooter. I'm sorry, I call it the rough board, but I've been calling it a hot bike lately, so people understand this is a wheeled vehicle depending on the vantage point you're looking at it from, because there's a lot of dog scooters out there that are wheeled, but they're not electric driven. Good girl, Lodi. So she's really comfortable today. And the more comfortable she is, the faster I can go. And the longer we can go to burn up more energy in her, because that's the name of this game, is burning up energy. Huskies have tremendous amounts, and she doesn't like being in her crate, and it's one of the most important things I'm going to teach her. So she needs to be in there, and some of this energy purge is going to make her more comfortable in there. And that's what we want, because we want, they naturally, as I talked about this before, they're dead dwelling animals. They naturally like their crates or being in can find spaces that makes them feel
Rough
safe.
boarding with WoofDriver.
So she's young, and apparently she was taught it, but only to a certain level. She probably was out there much longer. Now tomorrow, if things go as planned, we'll be putting her on a e-collar. I explained to everyone before, an e-collar is essential for the activities I do. Some people say, oh, that's so cruel.
Rough
But
boarding
people
with WoofDriver.
have a different perspective that say that. They usually are not dealing with a breed like a Husky breed, that even if they are, they're probably not in a Husky multifamily household where Huskies will establish their own pecking order, and sometimes they'll do that through pretty aggressive means, confrontations with each other, proving who's stronger and who's going to be the alpha. So our electric collar takes away some of that fight in them, no pun intended, and it also makes them, or gets them to cooperate, so they're not as likely to exhibit the Husky traits that make them hard to train and hard to have as household pets, quite frankly. For the activities we do, where I'm going to have all the dogs together doing
Rough boarding with WoofDriver.
adventures like free ranging where they're off leash and they have total control, where they can chase prey if they want and they can run away. That's the time. G over, good girl. G over, good girl. I'm just nudging her over, letting her know when the vehicle touches her, she's got to move to the right or to the left, whatever way I'm going to direct her. Right now she's on the right side, so that's pretty much the only way she can move. Come on, good girl. When the vehicle nudges her. When I say the vehicle, remember that white pipe you're looking at is actually soft PVC plastic. Makes this look like the rough board or surfboard it is. It's actually plastic, so it's made for the dog to hit to kind of fend them off before they would get to the metal. The metal, nothing on here is going to hurt them. Even if you run over their paws, essentially you can run over their body with the weight of the vehicle and and it wouldn't hurt them the way it's spread out. But of course we don't want to do that, but nothing, it's not like I'm in a car where, God forbid, you would do probably irreparable damage if you hit your dog. Of course we would never do anything like this in a car, but I'm just trying to give an example of how this sporting adventure works. By the way, I call this overall group of adventures I do with wheeled vehicles fur wheeling. Fur, like four-wheeling, fur-wheeling. WoofDriver always likes to have fun with words. There goes the lady with the golden retriever that was walking ahead of us. See how old we called her already? And again, another reason I'm using this rough board scooter, because you get the dog to go a lot faster than a normal walk. This is kind of a glorified walk, moving at this pace, but we're training and we're getting more miles, and I can crank it up when the dog's ready. Whereas a walk, all I could do is jog or run to crank it up, and I'll probably last about 5 seconds doing that. Just because I'm not as in shape as I used to be. In case you don't know, I'm 52 years old, and I'm a kind of a lifelong martial artist. Better than 35 years, I think, now in martial arts, if you count. Even in my younger years, I was doing them, so probably closer to 45. Probably 5 years of my life I didn't do it all together. I've had a lot of influence. And we're going to go left today. All good girl. All. Taking a different way than we went yesterday. We went right, if you were watching us. We did a walk. I showed her the course yesterday by walking her in the morning on the roads that I'm taking in almost the exact formation. Today I'm changing it up. Come on, good girl. And I'm not walking her first. I'm really letting her get her paws wet. G over. Nope. G over. Come on, good girl. She's getting ahead of me, so I'm going to crank up the speed a little. That means she's ready to go. But remember, I don't want to wear her out. She doesn't. Huskies can regenerate energy in lots of different ways. They don't burn, I believe believe it's glycogen and fat for energy like humans do. They just can almost reverse their metabolism. So the recovery time and their endurance is nothing like a human's. I mean, it's light years ahead of the humans if you think about it that way. She sees a bird. G over? Good girl. Just a distraction, which is good. So the husky has all this energy and it needs to be tamed. This is one way I tame it, especially when they are just learning about what we do. One thing I like to do, and I've flirted with the idea, is going to the shelter and teaching some of the shelter dogs, Huskies that is, Husky rescues, some of these qualities. I'm just not sure if of course I would talk to the shelters themselves, the people there, but I might be doing more harm than good, because if I teach them this, then they're going to build up this appetite even more than it's instinctual to them. I'm just going to be feeding it, and if they're adopted to a home that's not going to do that, it might be problematic. So, but I'd like almost all Huskies to experience something like this, because it's truly off the chart. I mean, it just gives them that this breed, it unleashes their instinct. No other way to say it. So when we're done today, we'll have over 5 miles. I'll get some hill climbing in. We'll take a water break soon. She's fine. She drank a lot of water before she left. So she's hydrated to start with. That was probably off camera because I only have the camera on the bike right now. I'm not wearing the camera. I've got too much to do to wear the camera too. And you notice on a lot of my adventures I do wear a camera, but this is more of a training time, and I got to have all my senses focused on training. Now tomorrow when I do the e-column, I will probably be wearing it since I won't have anywhere else to put the camera. And that'll be interesting. Interesting for people, everybody watching my videos, to learn, because so many people say, oh, I can't control my dog. Well, you really could control your dog. It's just the point of putting a collar like an e-collar on them and teaching them. I mean, really, it only takes a couple of training sessions. G over, and they work perfectly. They understand it and they respect it. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. Good girl. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. So, car just passed us. She stayed great, and I was just getting her, come on, baby. Just encouraging words. Let her know everything's still the same. Talking in the same monotonous tone is just like chatter to them, but they hear you. They know you're there. I remember being on a sledding, mushing expedition in Banff, Canada, and still in my earlier years I was learning. G. It's okay, come on, good girl. G. Good girl. G. See how I pushed her? Good girl. See how it didn't hurt her at all and didn't even scare her? Good girl. Because I'm keeping praise and I'm not getting excited in a bad way, in a negative way. But when I was on a sled dog expedition in Banff, Canada, come on, good girl. The musher said to me, I heard him whistling and honking. I'm like, why do you do that? And he said, I always let the dogs know that I'm in the house. I'm still here. Because on a sledding expedition where you've got lots of dogs, I think there were 21 at the time, they will sometimes get a mind of their own and want to go in a separate direction. And knowing that the driver, the dog driver, WoofDriver here, lets them, good girl, Lola, letting them know that you're in the house and you're in control and you're the alpha, and they're gonna stay on the course that you take them on or direct them to, is what this is all about. That's how you maintain control. So that was neat. Did that. Now that's a dog barking, probably from the scent. I don't think it saw us. The scent of Lola, and just letting her know it's his territory. Maybe he'd like to come along, or she'd like to come along. We have had dogs chase us before. I can usually outrun them. Usually they just want to be part of the party, especially when I'm out here with all 4 dogs. They see the dogs and they're like, hey, I want to be on there. I want to get together, just like you see a group of people having fun. Say, hey, I want to join that. So it's usually not an aggressive posture, but sometimes the dogs, my dogs that are hooked to the bike, the scooter, the sled, whatever, they can feel a little bit compromised or a little bit intimidated because they're tethered to something and they couldn't defend themselves, and a dog charging at them is problematic, so they could get aggressive posture. That's where problems start. So just try to avoid stray dogs coming after us, whatever. And that's again another reason why it's good to have the motor, because I can really accelerate and outrun those dogs. Now, I got my dogs with me, but they're trained, and once they're conditioned, like Lola will soon be, they can run higher speeds, especially for quick sprints or quick spurts. So we're coming into an area that's a court. There was a school to my left, a road or access to a school. Sometimes we go there. Sometimes I do some of my off-leash training there. The school's really cool because it's a neighborhood school, and they're like, just clean up after your dog and you can come here and train all you want, or play frisbee with your dog, whatever your dog likes. They're very nice. Obviously, not during school hours and interfering with their activities, but when they're not using their fields. They invite the neighborhood to do it, and that's just good relations. When I first train her on the e-collar, the first thing I do is train for the recall command. Recall command means I'm going to train her to come back to me. And that's about the hardest thing you can train a husky. Come on, good girl. Because she saw some distraction. There was like old white paint markings on the road. She saw them and she went to see them, and I said, no, come on. But the recall command is one of the most important commands. Remember, there's only about 5 or 6 commands you really need to train a dog to be the best they can be and as responsive as they can be to you. Now, if this sun had been baking on this blacktop, it's still not the heat of summer, but it could get heat up a little bit. So again, that's why we're here in the morning, so the blacktop's not heated up. Good girl, Lola. And it won't interfere with the pads. Now the pads protect against it, but they can still scorch and burn with the heat of the sun. So you want to always be careful. Good girl, Lola. This is a quiet little spot I know of in the cul-de-sac. Good girl. Stay good girl. Good girl. So I'm going to give her some water now. Good girl. If I don't trip on my way out. Always carry a portable water bowl. These are one of the best things that I've ever had.
Recording with WoofDriver.
Please. The portable water bowl makes it easy to take water with you almost anywhere. So I gotta take water. You still gotta take water, but the portable water bowl is not just another rigid piece of plastic that most travel water bowls are, and they can't snap together. You have to find a place to store them on the bike. That's easy to see.
Recording with WoofDriver.
Now today I'm going to give her less hot dog. It's a little warmer out today. Something called bloat we don't want her to experience. It can be fatal. That's her stomach turning upside down. But just want to let her know she's doing a great job. So now she's super comfortable. She's got a little bit of running in. We probably got about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile in. I usually wear my mirror watch. It tells me where we're going. It's a Fitbit. We don't have it on today, so can't totally depend on that right now. So she's got a GPS power on it. So yeah, Lola actually is a typical Husky escape artist. And I'm not used to dealing with those. I've dealt with Huskies that reject being in a crate, like Princess, that I had to work with and train. In her older years, I took away the crate anymore. But when they're younger, they need it a lot. So she's really content being here right now, which is some of the best news ever. I got that energy out of her, that initial energy bang, and she's doing great. She's done a lot of hair. Notice I'm pulling clumps of hair off of her.
That's her undercoat, which a lot of it's going through her body. Her head's got a lot of it.
Boarding with
Her head looks broken now
WoofDriver.
because it's got all the fur. But that doesn't happen to my dogs. They don't get clumps of hair like that because they're constantly groomed every 2 to 4 weeks to do that. That's what maintains it. And a lot of people, I know it's an expense to do that. Of course, people can do it themselves. But this is a woolly husky. All my huskies are woolly huskies. So they're very labor intensive. It's a labor of love to maintain the coat
Boarding
and
with
get it
WoofDriver.
and it's healthiest. Now I feel right here, 2 clumps of hair, nuts. They get them behind their ears a lot of times because other dogs chew on them when they play, chew on the fur back by their ear. That's just the way they play. So at her last home, where I rescued her from, had to be rehomed, she was with some other dogs, of course, which makes it good. She seems to do well with other dogs. I haven't tried to get myself, but I can tell right off the bat that she's probably got a good disposition with other dogs. But that's what they do. And these knots have to be maintained. You can't just leave it matting up on the dog because it causes other problems. Traps bacteria in there, makes the skin so it essentially can't breathe, and it becomes a breeding ground for bacteria. But that'll all come on for her this week. We could initially groom her the first day I got her, but I want to start off this process and gradually build up to being handled by other people and put into different situations. She's probably never been groomed before, actually. So that'll be a new experience for her too. So I want to make sure that it's a good experience. No dog, well, very few dogs like typically being groomed, but it's part of the process and they need to learn, and as they get more accustomed to it, they become more manageable and handleable to other people, so they become better equipped for activities that I do because I run into a lot of people. If you saw me yesterday, first time out with Lola on the scooter, we were almost confronted by a small child, and she wanted to pet her, and I said, oh, well, we're training now. I was trying to tell her gently she couldn't do it. Luckily her mom was there, because not that Lola, I don't know her personality 100%, I haven't worked with her enough, but I think she'd be fine with the little girl, but I didn't want to take her off of her training game. She was learning something new, and distractions are great, but in the beginning I want her to focus on what we're doing, and I want her to be comfortable with it. There's plenty of time to see, big clump of hair. Again, it's all because her coat hasn't been maintained. And I've kind of become an expert, not as much as a groomer. I couldn't really groom her myself. I could, but I wouldn't know enough. But I have enough knowledge. I don't have enough hands-on experience to do it. Good girl, though. So, we're not good girl. She's content. This training, most importantly, why you don't see my other dogs here, is about me being with her, the bonding experience. Because that's going to be the most important thing right now. Because once she trusts me, trust me to take her anywhere and do anything. And she won't be, she's a little skittish now. This very little Jag. Jag's probably more skittish than she is. Jag's my other dog that you see. He was very skittish when I first got him. And so when I say skittish, I mean a little unpredictable how they're going to react. Usually friendly, but they're going to take it out. So he was cognizant with his dog, showing her, praising her, came behind me. Just like I'm comforting Lola here. Now she could pull a little on this scooter and possibly take it over on her. So I'm going to leave her for a second. I'm going to keep hold of the leash so she doesn't do that, because that'd be a bad experience. You know, it'd be hard for her to do. But of course, when all 4 of them are on there, if they all 4 tug in one direction, you could easily do it. Now I'm letting the gentleman get ahead. She's probably ready to go now. A little excited from the dog. That'll motivate her a little bit. But we're going to get ready to go as soon as I feel that that gentleman's cleared out with his dog, because she'll do fine. She's tethered, she can't get off of it, but because of I want to respect him and yield to him, give him enough him and don't intimidate him. Not that he would be intimidated, but don't make it speed. Well, up there she goes. She's right back down.
Rough boarding with WoofDriver.
So this is just a real informal conversation here, and I like talking about it because it keeps my mind sharp and it shares all the experience and knowledge that I've built over the years with everybody out there, everybody watching. Now my wife, Mrs. WoofDriver, who you might have heard on the phone there earlier, she's probably going to get our little dog ready, and we're going to do a walk in the neighborhood
Rough boarding with
Lola
WoofDriver.
and Gigi. Tongue hanging over the side of the mouth is the closest thing you can get to a dog smiling. Now, I've seen dogs smile, so there is, some dogs actually perk their lips up like a human would smile, but tongue hanging over the side is pretty intense. I'm just going to give her a thicker coat around her mane, around her head. They call it the mane, like a lion's mane, around her neck and head region, to see if there's any more hair I can take off. The hair I'm pulling out is comfortable. It's just dead hair that's tangled with new hair. But if you leave that there long enough, if she's not groomed, that'll create what they call mats. It'll get embedded in there. The hair will grow through it, the new growth, and that'll become the breeding ground for bacteria. So we're gonna see if she wants any more. I've got enough water with me to dump this off. So I carry 1 to 2 64-ounce canteens when I'm taking 1 to 2 dogs. They're, I don't know if you can see them from the vantage point the camera's looking, but they're stainless steel, so they're insulated. They're essentially water bottles or canteens for humans. And I carry them because I've got 2 nice areas where they can lay flat on the scooter here, or at least be supported right in the scooter here. Again, my collapsible water bowl, I can't tell you how cool they are, how much they work, and really how inexpensive they are. There's a million brands out there. Now she's ready to go. She's pulling. So she hasn't truly pulled yet. I'm excited for that. I know people are like, why are you letting her pull? That's what dogs do, especially Huskies. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. So, see, now the bike was coming right at her and she wasn't scared. So she can get fearless of it, which I want her to be, but I want her to have a little respect for it. So she's not totally confident that she can do whatever she wants on here. She's got to maintain the right position. Good girl. Now this is a total transformation from the first few minutes of our ride yesterday. And I encourage you to go back to see that. That's part of this series in training Lola for the rough board. That's part 1. And that'll show you how she was scared, like any dog. And I was almost, I'm not going to say dragging her because I'll have everybody and their mother complaining, but I was encouraging her by putting a little power with the scooter and tugging on her a little bit, pulling on her, just like you would teach a dog to heel. There's nothing wrong with that. And she's in a harness. The only bad response that can have is that harness, she could slip out of it. That's why I have a leash on her in case she does that, in case she says, oh, all of a sudden I'm not going to go. No, Gigi, come on. I'm gonna have, Gigi. Lola. I'm calling her Gigi. I've trained Gigi like this, so I got to pick up the pace to keep her on the right side. See how now the pace is sped up and she can't get towards the front of the vehicle because she can't go fast enough. But that's part of the training. And every dog's different, so as I do this with other dogs, I learn myself. But the principles are the same. There's an area down there, it's a school that I could take her. But I'm not going to take her that far today. I would add another quarter, half mile. We're going to do a hill climb yet, and we're going to do a long straightaway. We got a lot of mileage to cover before we make it back home. So I want to keep her crisp, and I want to have a few new routes to show her on our training days here. And this rough boarding, scootering if you will, might be a daily occurrence for the first week or so that I have her until I can get her trained to be with at least some of the other dogs, if not all of them. Because this is a way that I'll purge that energy and
keep her more comfortable when she's in her quiet time at home. It's important for her, at least for the first few days, if not the first week, to really get comfortable in that crate and learn to like it. Come on, good girl. Haul. Haul. Good girl. Haul's good. Good girl. Haul. I see a car coming, so I'm moving a little quicker. And we got a storm grate coming in the car, so I'm going to go slow here. Let the car pass before I get over to the grate. Oh, good girl. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. She means to the right. I was going to my left a little to get her away from the storm grate, and I did have to stop to let the car pass because I was going to hit the grate. And the grate, what's wrong with the storm grate is the grate has got openings. They're wide. Her paws are probably too big to fall in it, but we don't take chances like that. I never run over the storm grates unless they're gridded, where they have small openings, 1.5 inch, where her paw could not get through it. But when they're just vertical slots, basically, I don't take chances. If her paw slips through, they could break a leg. And most dogs are probably smart enough to not want to go in it, but you never know. And she's got a lot of trust in me right now. She's never done this. This is only her second day, so she could be just, oh, if Dad says do it, do it. I want to be real careful about that. Because that would be about the worst thing that could happen from a serious injury in your first training. So this is the most crucial time to keep them safe, secure, to build that confidence. It's beautiful out. Nice breeze going. It's probably about 75 right now. I think it's supposed to be in the 80s today. And we're loving life. Now the other dogs, which are Zorro, Chase, and Jag, my 3 male woolly Huskies. 2 of them are white, one of them's colored here like Lola, are at home. They're in the crates, 2 of them, and one of them's in my bedroom. Usually Zorro sleeps in the bedroom with us. He's just a big baby. Very familiar and okay in his crate, but come on, good girl. Again, another car coming. Got a guy doing his lawn here with a weed whacker. This guy's a dog lover too. I think he's got a golden retriever, but he doesn't have the dog out now. He's just doing weed whacking. So I'm going to avoid him and go over. It'll be a good thing for Lola to hear the loud 2-stroke motor of the weed whacker and say, oh, that thing doesn't hurt me once we pass it. So again, just building more confidence. Come on, good girl. Good girl, Lola. Good girl, Lola. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. And that was a pleasant experience. You know, if you watch my videos, you've seen me many a times with trains literally, I don't know, 10, 15 feet away from us on the trails. That's how some of the rail trails we run on are situated. And the trains come really close. Of course, they're still a safe distance, but it can freak a dog out. And my dogs have built the confidence in them that the loud noises that come from the train and the presence of the train is not going to hurt them, so they're okay with it. Once in a while, with an oncoming train, or if you're next to a highway, some of these trails run parallel to the highways, and we almost feel the breeze of the cars or trucks pass us. Come on, it's okay, good girl. She's in the fence and she can't get out. And usually the loudest dogs are the worst, the smallest dogs. Come on, good girl. When I say the smallest dogs, they got the most bark, not usually the biggest bite. They're just guarding their area, but I've been chased by small dogs before, so I'll just be ready for it. And they get excited. They're usually just guarding their area. So that's why I got a mirror too, so I can make sure I don't want somebody's dog coming after us and the dog getting mixed up in traffic and everything else. Good girl. It's okay, good girl. You're all good girl. She hears a car. So Sometimes their sense is pretty good if they start looking back. Could mean something's coming, like that dog. Another dog, but it's not. Good girl. Come on, good girl. She's getting a good run for the money today. So she's wearing Chase's harness until I get her properly fitted. She'll have her own harness then. She's about the size. Come on, good girl. It's okay. Good girl. I still hear that dog. I sure hope it didn't get out.
Rough boarding with WoofDriver.
You never take a chance with the dog. People do sometimes. Leave their dogs in their yard. They might be out there working and think it won't run off. And then something like me comes by that looks like, again, a party. Even though I only have Lola with me today and not the other dogs, where there's more dogs to entice them to come over and check us out. I'm on a scooter that something moving like me, slow enough for the dog to see, but fast enough for it to want to chase.
Rough boarding with WoofDriver.
Unlike a car. And with the dog running on the side is really enticing. So that's why if your dogs aren't trained on a electric fence or some kind of barrier, it can be problematic. Of course, if the dog would have chased me, I would have picked her up and taken her back as best I could have. I would always carry an extra leash on me. It would have been a little bit of a stumbling act, but we would have done it because people up here walk, and I don't think they have a dog with them. Not that it's a problem if they do. More for them, I'm concerned, is my Lola here's under perfect control. Now, they're going to the right, so I'll go to the left. I was going to go to the right. We'll do our big hill climb. And then there's another cul-de-sac. We can take a break
Rough
in.
boarding with WoofDriver.
Again, this has been carefully mapped out by the WoofDriver, me. So, this has happened for years. I've been running these roads. I know the area very well. Not to say that I'm not, always the element of expect the unexpected. That's the way I train them in martial arts, and that's the way I train dogs. Come on, good girl. Paul. I'm going to take her. We went to the right yesterday. Paul, good girl. Paul means to the left. Paul's good. It's not as important for my dogs to know sled dog commands because they're kind of directed. They're on the side of the vehicle, so they don't have to do any real steering on their own. But once they learn them, it helps them prepare for which direction I might go in. Now, if something comes up and I have to totally turn in another direction, I'm prepared. Come on, good girl.
Rough boarding with
Go a little faster so
WoofDriver.
she can go in front. Then what I have to do is just go fast, kind of direct them. This will be interesting. Come on, good girl. I have to direct them with the bike, regardless of if they know the direction we're going in or not. They'll be fine. Again, with the way that you're attached, they're perfectly safe. Good girl. Now she's putting on her stoppers. They have stopping pads. One of their pads they call a stopper pad. That helps slow them down. So see her. She knows we're going downhill, but she's good. She's good with the pace. Good girl. She's a little bit behind her leads, her tethers, but that's okay. Good girl. Still cool back here. We'll be coming up this hill. This is one of the biggest inclines I know of in the area. It's certainly one that we can get to without crossing major roads. And this is so good for the training. Good girl. Good girl, Lola. She's really moving at a good clip. Good girl. Now she's got slack in her line. And she's getting even with it. A little behind still, but no tension on it. Good girl, which means she's engaged. Good girl, G over. G over. G over. Haul come around. Haul come around. Haul come around. Haul come around. Yeah, I'm going to challenge her up that hill. Haul come around. Haul come around. This is work for the rough board here, the scooter, getting up this hill. But notice there's no real tension, a little bit of tension on her leash. she's up for the task. And this scooter makes the most noise when it's got to really use its motor to get my weight up the hill. Good girl. We're wearing her out, and that's what I need to do. Good girl. So was on an early morning regimen. I could tell because she's up early. I usually don't get my dogs up till, believe it or not, sometimes 9 or 10 o'clock. I give them a late night romp where they can go outside and do their business. They sleep inside all night. I think she might have slept outside because she doesn't like being indoors at night, but she's learning. But I like getting them on a later schedule because sometimes work people come to the house. A lot of stuff happens in the early morning at my house, and letting them sleep through it makes it easier for everybody. Good girl. And I actually feed them late at night. That way, if I need to do an activity with them or something in the evening or anytime during the day, I feed them once a day. They're fine. Otherwise, if you feed them too early, I'd have to make sure they digest their food for a good hour or so before I'd run them again. G? Yeah, let's call it a sec here. G? Good girl. Hit a branch and she was like, what just happened, Dad? Good girl. But she feels really comfortable. Again, she's doing so good, and I constantly explain this to people that it's so easy to train a dog to run on a bike or scooter or pretty much any wheeled vehicle with minimal training. I mean, this is only her second day and she's ready. Now, pulling is a little different because that's a different dynamic and different on their body. Huskies are instinctually bred to pull, but they still need a little training. G. Paul, come around. Good girl. Paul, come around. Put a bit of a divot in the road there. Paul, come around. I just want to make sure she saw it. Paul, come around. You know, when they get tired, they're less coherent, for lack of a better term. Easy. Oh, good girl. Again, another quarter break. I dropped the leash. I engaged the parking brake.
Boarding with WoofDriver.
So again, we've been out here for 1 hour, and I can tell that by looking at the camera. Timing is 10:17. This is Sunday, May the 19th, the day after the Preakness. I mentioned the Preakness, just a big event that happens here in Baltimore. It is a horse race. It's a nice, cool spot under a tree. Concrete coat, high, good girl. That was you. I see she moved a little bit away from me. Looking at her pads, she's got a little bit of length on her claws. Not terrible. That length on the claws will be maintained by this concrete blacktop. It will come off of her. She might be ready for that. We're going to still do another 2 miles or so back home. It's a little bit of a combination of everything. Most important aspect is the training aspect. Second is purging that energy so she feels like she did something and it takes that edge off of her to be in her crate more relaxed. Now, we'll probably do one more scooter rough board ride today. Let her rest at home after we get there. When we get there, we're going to introduce her probably to Gigi. They'll both be on leashes. And take a small walk. Let her do that. Then put her back in her crate. And the idea behind so much crate training, again, is to get her used to it. Again, I've said it a million times here, the den-dwelling animals. So it's instinctual for her to be in an enclosure or something tight quarters. But where she can't get out is where it becomes a little more restrictive and in a strange place, being in my house, which is full day. That's the training part, and putting her in there and letting her get used to it, and then me coming and releasing her. I'm like her savior. Yeah, I did get her in there. I baited her in there with the cookie.
dog treat and getting her out. I'm like her savior. Oh, Dad saved me. He said, learn to trust, learn into love, and
Rough boarding with
becoming the apple
WoofDriver.
of her eye. That comes out. So I release her. Then I take her out on the scooter. Then I give her water. Then I feed her. So she's becoming more and more comfortable. She's like, this guy's a good guy. Who did I meet? Where am I at? And that's all part of the training process. That's why I wouldn't recommend introducing a new dog to your dogs right away and not getting the dog comfortable with you.
Rough boarding with
Making your
WoofDriver.
new dog feel like you're a safe zone. If you put her into the fire right away with other dogs or you don't know how everybody's going to react, you're essentially giving her to the wolves or him to the wolves. And without that reaction being known from any dog, no matter how docile either of them are, you're introducing them to, or the dog you're introducing, you're doing the introduction with, or the dog you're doing the introduction to. It doesn't matter how
Rough boarding
docile
with
you may think they
WoofDriver.
are, they can exhibit different behaviors at any given time. So expect the unexpected. So always train for the worst possible situation, and you won't be as surprised when something doesn't go as planned. Her getting comfortable with me is usually a 3-day process, on the minimum. I would spend 3 days, and that'll be tomorrow. Now, we're going to introduce her to Gigi today because Gigi's very
Rough
curious,
boarding with
and
WoofDriver.
that could be the most riskiest proposition, but with her on a leash and with both dogs on a leash, we'll have it total control. And walking them, their mind will be off of each other for a little bit. They'll sniff each other, they'll do the introduction, and she could reach down and try to grab her. Obviously, we're not going to let that happen. I've been a million times, but we're going to let her know. We want her to understand that Gigi,
Rough boarding
my
with
Chinese Crested, is part of
WoofDriver.
the family, just like Lola's part of the family, and everybody must get along together. Gigi's not going to hurt her, of course. Now Gigi might try to flex a little bit of muscle and say, "Hey, I'm the boss here because I've been here," but that'll be easy to control. My co-pilot Jimmy. You've seen Jimmy in a lot of videos. He's the older gentleman. I'm getting older
Rough
myself.
boarding with
I can't say too much about
WoofDriver.
that. All that my father used to say is when people used to say, "Oh, you're getting older," so well, it's better than the alternative. There you go. Jimmy's my co-pilot on most of my dog adventures where we're on the 2-seater bike, and he's been for years. Actually, with me in the beginning, when I started doing some of my traveling adventures that I do on back to, I don't know, almost 10 years ago or so. I've been
Rough
having
boarding
Huskies and
with
adventuring for about
WoofDriver.
25 years now, but these extensive adventures are in the past 10 years. But Jimmy's story is that he's just one of the greatest guys I know. He's somewhat mechanically inclined. He's very smart, so he can help me figure out almost any situation we get into. I call him the quarterback because he's designing the day, giving us the Wolfpack lots of play, and making sure that things are going to go as planned. So if we break down, he's not the master mechanic, that would be Chris, but Jim can usually do enough to get us back going if we're out on the trail, or at least identify the problem to better assist Chris to fix it on the spot at the time. And he helps keep the machinery working by taking them to the proper places and getting them checked out when we're not on the adventure. He orders the ATVs. I use a lot of electric ATVs. Throughout different farm areas I rent. I have actually 3 ATVs, electric. So they need to be maintained on a monthly basis, just mechanically. Water, because they're battery operated, so they get water in the batteries, as well as tire pressures and overall trail maintenance from these areas, because even though I rent the areas, I still have to maintain my area where I might roam. I can't control all of it. When we're at the big farm areas, there's a few big farm areas. Sometimes, it's how they plant the crops. They tell me I have so many feet, I can ride over some crops, whatever. So, but Jimmy usually keeps me advised. He talks to the farmers as well as myself, and also
hunting time. I need to know what's going on. We'll get some specifics on that, as well as some of the farms, unfortunately, they didn't do it this year, but they'll do trapping, like fox trapping and stuff like that, which is terrible. But I can't control it, so I just need to stay away from it. And all the information, Jim helps me navigate and manage all that, so I can keep the dogs safe and still have access to these incredible areas. Again, not trying to toot my own horn here, but you know, it's a wink of the eye, lifetimes, and I'm trying to share as much knowledge as I can, so anybody out there who wants to do something similar, doesn't have to be on as grand of a scale as I'm doing it, but they can understand it and do it in their own way. What I do is, good girl, oh, she's ready to go. We're gonna go. I find areas where farmers and people that own land might be inclined to let me rent it from. Oh, good girl, she's running back down. And I'll give them usually a little bit of money. It's not usually a big investment because they're not doing a lot. They're just letting me have access to their land, and I'm ensuring them that my dogs will be well behaved around any livestock they may have, as well as I'm not going to take my ATV and run over crops, valuable crops, and areas of the farm that would be detrimental to the farmer. So I respect it, and I can usually keep the ATV there, and it usually charges in the farmer's electricity, but that's included in my rental fee. So I got into that by knowing the dogs need to run off leash almost all the areas you go to, especially in urban areas, populated areas. Dogs need to be on a leash unless you're in a dog park. In a dog park, let's face it, usually the size of this cul-de-sac here, it's not very big. So getting Huskies in particular enough, it's not going to really purge all their energy, but it's going to give them enough wildness or enough time to sow some of their wild oats. They need a lot of land, and people that are restricted to just running them on something like I'm doing here is wonderful, but just adding a whole nother dynamic to them by an area where we can go off leash and have access to 500 acres with a vehicle that can run those 500 acres like an electric ATV. Sometimes make the difference and let the dogs really explore themselves. And why I say that is because I didn't have it. So I tell you that because you can network yourself sometimes in different areas. There's people with land. Sometimes they're looking to sell the land, and they might take a little bit of rental income to let you run a dog or something, whatever. And it doesn't have to be with an electric ATV. Okay, good girl. Hike. So we're back on our journey. Girl, now there was a little liquid on the ground there. I saw it spilled, so not from me, but just always worry. Could be antifreeze or something. G. Good girl. Now she's keeping a good pace, and she's a good distance from the vehicle, almost perfect. So I'm running about. Oh no! Come on. Good girl. She wanted to go towards that bird. Good girl, G. Good girl, Lo. Good girl. I didn't want her to learn that she can go to the left. I wanted to teach her, so that's why I said the NO word, which she doesn't quite understand yet, but she understands abrupt words, abrupt sounds. Good girl. Come on, good girl. Now she's working. Good girl. Now she's working. Now she's wide open. This is about a full trot for her. Now, if she would suddenly stop, I've got my hands on the brakes. Because again, I've never run her before. It's only the second day doing this, so I don't know how she'll react if a squirrel pops out. She won't tip me over. She can't, because the way this is designed. That's the beauty of it. But she could
all of a sudden stop. Good girl. Good girl. I want to see what she could do. She did great. Good girl. Good girl. Come on, good girl. That worked her a little bit. She's getting tired. It's awesome. And that's also a good time to introduce her to, like I said, I'm going to introduce her to Gigi because she's tired. Getting tired. So she's less likely. They'll rebuild that energy quickly. But at least some of that edge will be spent. So she's a little more mellow. She seems to be interested in other dogs, but not as excitable as my guys, which is cool. Still really cool. I live in a wooded neighborhood, so when the trees have the leaves on like they do now, it all year long it just stays cooler than other areas, which is great for, come on good girl, activities like this. Come on good girl. Come on good girl. Come on. She's got a bird. This bird's hanging. Sometimes when birds hang kind of close, yeah, and there's a pair of them, probably a nest somewhere around, and they try to, believe it or not, take a possible predator's attention away from where the nest would be. So they fly the opposite direction. I've experienced that before. Of course, keep my dogs away from any possible nest or anything. Good girl. Now, when they put their nose down, of course, they're trying to pick up on a scent. So I encourage that. It's perfectly fine. Come on, good girl. We have a car coming behind me. So. Come on, good girl. Oh. Good truck. Well, come on, good girl. At least it was a truck. Loud truck, I should say. I mean, just moving at a high rate of speed. It sounded like it was really approaching us quick, and I wanted to stop just to make sure they saw us. You'd be surprised when you get back here in heavily shaded or treed areas. It changes the light. Sometimes the sun peeks through, and you can see something, and then the sun hides behind the trees, or the sun rays do, and it becomes a little darker, and it takes a second for your eyes to adjust, and in a split second someone could hit you. So I'm always cognizant of that. It's like going from light to dark in moments, no matter moments, and make you not as visible to somebody, like me, the rider, the driver, not as visible to a potential car or truck. And I want to make sure they see me, or at least I see them, so I can take my dogs and get the heck out of Dodge if they start coming at us. Good girl. She's definitely getting tired. She's a pup. Come on, good girl. She's almost 2 years old, but she's still got high energy. G over. Come on, good girl. Sorry for the camera shake, folks. We're going on actual good girl. I like to take them on different surfaces like this too. G over. Come on, good girl. G over. This vehicle can go off-road. Come on, good girl. Challenging her a little bit. Challenging myself too, I think. Come on, good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Oh. So that was a fun time. So there's a lot of stones there, and it became a little thicker around that tree I went. Come on, girl. Again, she's getting ahead of me, so I'm going to put the speed on. She's very much interested in that woman that was walking, getting ready to run. And I was trying to keep her attention focused, but watching her in case she did stop suddenly. With Huskies, a lot of times, because they're so determined and stubborn, they want to think that it's their idea. So if you pull them in another direction, come on, good girl, good girl, and keep making it like it's your idea, they'll challenge you sometimes. And I mean, we are in control. We are the humans, and they need to know that.
But when we're training them, it's good for them to say, oh, cool, I like it. It's their idea. So there's a fine line there, but in a brief synopsis, my explanation, I hope you can understand that. Good girl. I mean, she's just doing incredible. And again, it's not that hard to train any dog to do this. It's harder to train a dog that has no confidence and is very skittish. So that's a tough trait to train out of them. It can be done. I've done it with Jag. And then to the other extreme where you have overconfidence and total stubbornness, like Princess was. That's the opposite end of the spectrum, the gamut for at least Huskies. And it's what I've done, so I know it's possible. At one point when we trained Princess, we questioned, I was working with my master trainer back then, we questioned whether she was possible to train off leash because she was so stubborn. And the way she responded to the electric was decent, it wasn't great. She bucked the system, B-U-C-K-E-D, bucked the system in a lot of ways, but she came around, and she is a great dog. And she's one of the reasons I have Lola. I just miss her presence, and miss the female aspect of the dogs. I'm a guy, and I'm usually with male dogs. It just, I don't know, it seems like I bond better with them. At least that was what was in my head until I got Princess. So that's how I chose the guys. I didn't know. I just naturally chose a male dog when I got my first Husky about 25 years ago. Good girl. Princess came to me about 12 years ago. She was about 15 when she crossed Rainbow Bridge. She was between 3 and 4 when I got her. And, those were great years with her. Really tough years, some of the training. Like I said, it's made me a better dog person. Good girl, Lola. A lot of places Princess might have wound up. She'd have been confined to a small area because people wouldn't know how to manage her. And back then, I didn't really know how to manage her. Paul, on each to the left. But even for my master trainer, who was one of the best dog trainers in the world, and I say that literally. I mean, he had so many awards and recognitions for his dog training. More of a police dog trainer, a protection dog. Where there's a squirrel in a pipe here. And we're gonna freak it. I hope it doesn't run towards us. Nope, come on. Good girl, Lola. Good girl. So Lola caught her eye on it. I turned her around, if you saw, but I was prepared to stop. Good girl. Now she's amped up. She wants to go fast. Good girl, Lola. We're closing in on 5 miles, folks. This is impressive. She was excited to say the least. But that's how I direct her out of it and let her know that you can't stop and sniff for the squirrels. It's okay to let them do that sometimes. But when we're training, we got to keep their focus on the job at hand. What I was saying about Princess, that she was a really difficult Husky to train, and it challenged even my master expert trainer who taught me everything I know. But we got her, and that experience will stay with me forever. And getting a dog like that to become manageable is probably one of my greatest accomplishments, and an aspect that has taught me so much and made me a better dog driver, better dog daddy. So I'm gonna wait till I get home to give her next watering because I think my wife will be ready to go. And time-wise, it's pretty much time to get back there because I have the other dogs to tend to. But even if we take a quarter-mile walk or something with Gigi and Lola, that'll be worth it. Come on, good girl. Good girl. See, she's listening. She turned her head when I said, come on, good girl, because she knows that. Come on, good girl.
Rough boarding with WoofDriver.
The bike moving, the scooter moving, has more control over her. And she's equating the bike with me. So it's just helping me reinforce my commands. Oh, oh, good girl. All is good. All is to the left. All is good. These words like oh, gee, can be stretched out. So when you say them, you can exaggerate them a little bit. Good girl. Easy, girl. Easy, easy. Got a car coming and got some debris in the road, so it's narrowing my lane, and I got to manage this car and her. Come on, good girl. And if I didn't explain it, I'll explain it today. Explained it yesterday. I have a cinch or a lasso kind of leash on her. Good girl, Lola. Just in case she would back out of the harness. And she could do that by stopping abruptly and me trying to go forward. They can pull the harness right off of her. That's how dogs back out of harnesses. So the leash, well, she's less likely to do it now. She's getting comfortable with it. But the leash gives me an extra tether on her so I can still control her. G, G, G. Good girl, G. I'm cutting in close on her. G, purposely. So I want her to feel. Good girl. She'll be pretty pooped out today. This is what she needs. Trying to crate train her without this would be brutal. Without the ability to do this now. I'm fortunate that she took to it so easily. And again, I'm going to compliment myself. That's just part of the way I've evolved, and I've trained them to be comfortable with this. In the past, if I got a dog, I try to get, if they're puppies, get two of them together because they wear each other out. The puppy knows the boundaries with each other. They understand it instinctually. Their mother, if they were with the mother long enough, hopefully, they understood how hard they can go with each other. Good girl. So having two puppies together is less work for the pack or the dog daddy or dog mama. Puppy mama, puppy daddy, whatever. But with an older dog, even though she's only almost 2, she's still somewhat of a puppy. She's got a lot of energy in her, and my other guys at home are a little older. They're not going to want to play and burn up that energy with her like she can do. So she's got to rely on me to do that. Otherwise, she's going to look for other ways, like escaping from the yard, digging holes, jumping all over everything, chewing up everything. And those are behaviors that are unwanted, and they can be discouraged and kept to a minimum by finding positive ways to get them to purge their energy and engage themselves. And that's what WoofDriving is all about. I have to get a little bit of speed because she's rolling. Good girl. I mean, she's going. We're doing a good 18 miles per hour right now. Good girl. She's really got it. Look how comfortable she is. And she can stop suddenly. I got my hands on the brakes just ready for it. But I'm outpacing her. So she's not going to get in front of the bike, the scooter. Good girl. She knows we're getting close to her. G. 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 Come on, good girl. Come on, good girl. That was great. She did awesome. Come on, good girl. She did awesome. Now, that was a sprint. As fast as she's probably ever sprinted before. So now that she got a sprint in, probably faster than she's ever sprinted. Again, that's what the bike lets them do, especially when they're not in areas where they can open it up, not in a big enough yard to gain that kind of speed. Where she came from, the yard was probably not big enough she could run like that. I'm sure she could run, but not like that. So the bike lets her do that. Now I'm going slower. I'm giving her a cool down time because we're approaching the home front. And we'll cool down probably with a walk if Mrs. WoofDriver's ready with Gigi. So you might recognize the dog limousine we're coming up on, and the dog motorcycle. That'll be down the driveway, and the dog bus. I call it the dog motorcycle. I take the dogs on it a lot. You might have seen me, another form of training, and I'll get her on there too. Tell her to feel comfortable and to sit in a seat. It trains her for the dog bike. So then we go on our extensive tours. Good girl. Good girl. Now this is gonna be a tight spot, and I want to get her through it. Come on, good girl. Girl. Oh, good girl. Folks, that's a wrap on today's, well, at least this morning's exercise run. Hopefully, I'll catch you real soon on another WoofDriver adventure or training session.